Hey, Joe, it's great to have you here today. Joe is the architect and the brains behind Property Pro Solutions and the different things that we're bringing to agents around the country. And you will be very impressed with what we want to introduce to you today, which is the anonymous lead generation. And Joe has been in real estate since he was a freshman in college. Did I get that right, Joe?
Yep, makes me feel really old saying that out loud. But yep, since freshman in college, it's really, I always joke and tell people like I've never had a real job. And of course, we all know in the real estate world, you work 10 times harder than most, but it's literally the only thing I've ever done.
Yeah, well, and that is impressive because you're licensed real estate in what, 10, 12 states?
Yeah, multiple states, multiple markets. You've got to learn how to scale and think outside the box. And
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I always liked about real estate is you're not confined. You're not confined to a building, a zip code. You literally have the ability to assist in transactions wherever you feel you can add value.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't know any agents, and I'm also a mortgage broker, so I've got kind of two worlds that I live in here. But I think most agents and loan officers have websites and they're trying to drive traffic to their websites. The problem is that there's so much activity to their website that they don't even know about. And that's what I love about the anonymous lead generation. So I'm just going to turn it over. Why don't you just share what's so special about this and how it helps agents really advance their listing game?
Yeah, man, the anonymous lead identifier, which we've got to come up with a better name, right? It's what we call it internally, but it is a really, really amazing tool. What most users, and saying the word users versus agents because this is not just an agent-centric tool.
Hmm.
Is it very valuable to agents? Absolutely. But lenders, mortgage, title, anybody that's in touching the real estate space, do you know that you're missing 90% of the traffic that visits your site, blogs, landing pages, PPC, IDX? You're missing 90, probably even 95% of the traffic. The only traffic that you're currently getting are the people who are filling out a form and raising their hand asking for help. But Keith, we know in the real estate space that consumers start looking, start exploring months before they're ready to make a commitment or raise their hand or ask
Hmm.
a question. So, Keith, what would your world look like if you found people at the right time, top of the funnel? What would your world look like if you found them at that right time? You knew who they were, you knew where they lived, their financial position, their equity, how long they've lived there. More importantly, you know what they're looking at in your world. If you
Oh,
had that type of information months before they're ready to transact, Keith, think of the value you could add to them. Think of the value. Like a lot of first time buyers, I heard this crazy stat, rabbit trail time. I heard this crazy stat in your database, something like 60% of your database is going to transact with another party. Just let that sink in, right? And you know why? Because like if you're not helping them at the time they are looking and ready to add value, you've already lost. So that's why it's so important to be able to find these people, identify who they are, understand their position, and know what they're looking at as early on in the process as you can. And Keith, that's what this tool does. Man, you set it up one time, multiple sites, multiple domains. Once again, IDX, blogs, PPC, right? You name it. And you're going to be able to capture anonymous visitors, who they are, what they're looking for, what their financial position is, and you're going to have all of that information delivered to you in a beautiful bow tie directly into your CRM.
yeah. Oh, this is a game changer like nobody's business. I mean, now you're talking about incredible referrals because you know where they're going, where they're coming. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and they're from all over the country. Just because your website is you're in one locale, your website goes everywhere.
Yeah, Keith, we were looking at examples the other day, and remember, we saw users looking in different states than what the agent was located in. Why? Because they're relocating to that state. They're
Hmm.
literally located in state A, searching his IDX website in state B. Well, the agent lives and operates in state B, but think if you know early enough in the process where they currently live, if you're thinking right as an agent, as a lender, all of the above, that's multiple transaction opportunities. Once again, wrapped up in a beautiful bow tie, handed over to you. And guys, these are not new opportunities. We're not a marketing company. Let's make sure we're on the same page. These are people right now that are looking at your online world that you're missing. We just
Hmm.
happen to identify them and deliver them to you.
Right. Yeah. The and how simple is that? No, I have a link here that people can come on and register and get started. But you've got videos that just so simple to just take them right through. Your step one, step two, connecting them to CRMs. Why don't you just share a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, you can have this functionality live within a minute, maybe 2 minutes. We generate a custom script is what we call it, but basically it's just a little code that you drop into the header of your website, websites, IDX, blogs, etc., right? Drop it into your site. And as soon as you do that, it's working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Zero human interaction needed. So anytime you're in once again, you heard me kind of referencing real estate as a scalable business. Scalable business means you've got systems in place where it can automate, bring you opportunities, right? That's literally the best definition of scalable. Keith, this is the most scalable tool out there because you set it up one time across your online world and it just works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Takes less than a few minutes to set up and you could start generating, say generating is a bad word. You could start finding what you're currently missing within, within an hour, you're going to start seeing results of, oh my gosh, look at these people looking at my world that I never even knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is quite amazing. If you look at now, we're these cost $4 per lead. Now compare that to what people are paying all across the board for other, trying to get a click, trying to get a lead, trying to get a name, and hope something happens. So $4 is pretty good. You were sharing the other day of a young lady that in her first 42 leads, she
Yep.
pulled two contracts out in just a matter of time.
She did. She was running, now she was running pretty targeted traffic to her IDX tools, right? She was looking for buyers and she was running some PPC ads to that. So she turned it on, and with a matter of 4, 5 days, she had 42 anonymous visitors. She was able once again to see who they were, their financial position, where they were coming from, what they were looking at. She had that insight that we delivered to her. She's got a great team behind her, and she was able to convert out of those 42 within her first 4 days, two of them into a contract phase. Now, since then, she's over 100 anonymous visitors, and she's adding to her team. And please hear me on this, Keith. These are not new leads that we're
Mhm.
giving her. These are people that she was actually paying for traffic to come to her world. This is just the 90% of traffic that was not registering or asking questions. She then got access to that, realized how much data she was missing. We delivered it to her, and now her whole marketing mindset is changing. Yes, when somebody fills out a form, raises their hand to ask a question, absolutely, they're hot, right? But what about the 95% of warm leads who are looking at you? These are not cold leads. These are warm leads because they're already exploring something you're doing, you're offering. So her results are absolutely amazing. We have users that are anywhere from the bare bones basic of finding, one, maybe two anonymous visitors a day, and they're not doing a lot of traffic. They don't have a lot of exposure, but they're finding one or two a day. Well, Keith, take that over a 30-day period. If you're a real estate agent, what would your world look like with 30? Let's just go bare bones here. 30 leads who are actually looking at your world right now. And that's pretty basic, right? We have other users that spend a significant amount of money on PPC, social, and blog. And Keith, they're identifying 60, 70, 80 anonymous people per day, not a month, per day.
Yeah.
Now, they're already spending a lot of money, so their results are kind of anticipated to be high. And here's one of the things they said to us. They were originally going to say, "Oh my gosh, with this type of leads, like we can actually start decreasing our budget because we're capturing so much more information." And then they immediately realized we're not going to decrease our budget because now we actually have the ability to maximize our opportunity.
Right.
We're not paying for things we're missing anymore. And so they immediately switched over to that mindset of finding the opportunity that they're missing. And their account is pretty amazing to watch. I mean, literally, it's insane the amount of traffic they get. Keith, from a generic KV Core IDX site to Real Geeks to you name it, WordPress, like agents, lenders, anybody listening to this, you have traffic looking at your world that you're missing today.
Hmm.
How valuable would that be if you could find them, who they are, their financial position, what they're looking at, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just changes the game.
I had to giggle at in one of the users said, "Well, I'm concerned about having to pay for too many leads."
And those are key, those are valid questions that we get. And most agents have a false reality of like, oh, my website gets all these views, right? Okay, well, let's verify that first for you, right? And then, Keith, we're not capturing 100% of anonymous visitors because we want to make sure that data is very, very accurate. So we capture roughly 20% of your anonymous visitors. We would love to capture them all, but they have to exist in our data sets to be able to deliver it to you the right way. And
And
so, but I do love it
what
when
are
agents.
those deliverables? Because when we look at the lead itself, I mean, we've got the where they live, who owns the home. I mean, there's run through just it is amazing.
Yeah, so first of all, we identify who the person is. We're tied into some really amazing databases where we collect this data in very unique ways. So we first identify the person, we identify where they live, we identify a valid pre-opted in email, keyword pre-opted in for you. We also identify the phone number and who that phone number is actually registered to. Because, Keith, we look at who the phone number is registered to and who actually owns the house. Our goal is to match up these data points so we can deliver, very, very high quality, valid data to you. So once we have our data set validated, we then jump into the real estate world. What is that address? How long have they lived there? When was it sold? What's their mortgage? What's their equity? We package all of that up to you. And then we jump into what are they looking for? So, Keith, we literally show you where they are on your site, where they came from, and what they're looking at. So, when
Hmm.
you think about it, you've got an identified valid person. You've got their wherewithal, meaning where they currently live and equity, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have what they're looking to do. When we combine those three data sets, um, once again, any type of lead, it adds really powerful value to that.
Yeah, thank you. And if I'd have had this, 18, 19 years ago, when I had nothing in my database, I can only imagine how I could have loaded up my database that would have stayed with me for years. Because
Yeah.
once you get them and you make connections, you just stay in touch with them. I mean, it's an amazing tool for brand new agents.
Oh yeah. It's once again. And Keith, I also like using this example, right? Agents hear me say the word online presence and they think that's automatically applied to I've got to have a website and I've got to have doing this. All of that's very important. And most agents, yes, you do have websites out there, right? Just imagine if you were to generate a social media post, Keith, right? A very high intent. Um, just because I love this world, I'm going to use this as an example. Keith, what if you generated a high intent instant offer social media post tied to a landing page, right? Well, if it's a very high intent ad and you do it on Facebook, let's say, do not use the Facebook autocomplete forms because your goal is you want high intent people to click on the ad. You want them to land on a landing page that has a little education built into it, which I know you've got a bunch of those, Keith. And then guess what? Whether they actually register or not does not matter anymore
Hmm.
because we're getting the anonymous data. In other words, how many times have you created a post or something and it says, Keith, congratulations, you have 100 clicks on this post, and you're going, well, that doesn't make sense. I haven't had a single person register or ask a question. It's not because your post is bad, it's because the conversion aspect of it
Hmm.
just might not be registering correctly, right? But you got people clicking on your post. Well, Keith, guess what? If you can get people clicking on the post, guess what you're going to get?
Yeah.
Anonymous, validated information. Now, if people do register, once again, bonus, right? But our goal is to take, I say this kind of being funny, but it's true, is to take bad marketing that you might be doing and let's find those results for you. Let's
Yeah.
maximize your good marketing, but also let's take the bad and do this. At the end of the day, anytime you have visibility on a website landing page, IDX blog post, you're missing leads and you don't even realize it. We bring those to the forefront.
Yeah. Well, uh, Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you are a busy, busy man. Is there anything, just kind of final comments that you would throw out there for agents and loan officers?
Yeah, you said something, Keith. I always like adding validation to this. These are $4 a lead. Most agents pay significantly more than $4 a lead. Um, we had an agent the other day, he kind of asking about the price, and we opened up an example on a site, and he was going $4. Golly, I don't know if we can do $4 a lead. And I was trying to educate him on right. If you do anything on the online world, you know $4 is a great price. And so I opened up a property, and I said, agent, right? Let's just walk through this hypothetically. Here we have a visitor, John Doe, who lives in this state, moving to this state. We have verified email, phone, it's opted in. You can see that they've got about $500,000 of equity, and they're looking at best neighborhoods to relocate to on on your world right now. And this person never raised a hand, asked a question to you. You're telling me for $4 that potential, like that's a, and and sometimes you just have to break it down like that for people to actually understand the magnitude of what they're getting. Because that one $4 lead, this guy had over $500,000 of equity in his $1.2 million house that he's leaving. So let's just be optimistic and assume he's going to go same or better. You're talking 30, 40 grand possible in compensation
Hmm.
over a $4 lead that never registered or asked a question. Keith, I would say give me those all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right. And so I always like just to break that down. It's agents oftentimes get really stuck in expenses versus opportunities. And when you run a business scared of expenses, you'll never find the opportunities.
Yeah. And there are filters, so if somebody said, well, I can only, handle $20 a day or whatever it
Oh,
is,
exactly. Put
they
it
can,
on, 5 leads a day. Put it on 2 leads a day, right? That's the beauty of it. It has safety nets built in, but don't get stuck on the expense part when you're missing the opportunity of somebody who's looking at your online world. Like, and I like talking on that because Keith, this is totally different than me running a $50 a day Facebook ad where you get Mickey Mouse and all these fake people clicking around a low conversion, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that type of marketing, but don't let these two worlds cross paths.
Yeah.
What we're doing is people that are actually looking at your online world. That's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Hey, folks, if you're not taking advantage of this situation, you may not be in the business because for $4 a lead, validated everything that Joe just talked about, and it comes delivered to you right into your CRM. Your CRM is going to notify you right away, hey, you just got a lead that hit. So you are now immediately in contact and business with these folks. So look, click the link below, get registered, and get going. I mean, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for agents and loan officers. So great. Joe, again, thank you for your hard work on putting all this together for us and helping us to be successful. And I'm so glad to be a part of this as Property Pro Solutions. So,
Absolutely. Keith, man, we'll talk to you soon.
all right, take care now.